Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is always such a pleasure to be with you. I'm so happy you're here. I want to really encourage you we're just going to get into the mindset of this. We're going to be learning a lot of new information for some of you. Some of it might be a review. But what I really want to encourage you for this webinar is to think about, why do you eat when you aren't hungry? So on my Instagram, I asked in my stories how often people eat when they're not hungry. And guess what? It was 100%. Everyone that participated all said this is something they do. So, why do you think we have, why do you think you do that? So you can just put it in the chat. Why do you think you eat when you aren't hungry? So the more that we can, this is another, for you to get the most success out of this training that I'm doing with you, is we're going to be very interactive. And so I do encourage you to put it in the, I do think it's easier for you to put it in the Q&A, just because people don't get distracted by the chat and then you don't feel like called out. So I do want to recommend that you use the Q&A instead of the chat version. I can actually maybe I can disable the chat. I'm not sure. But let's use the Q&A. So just put in the Q&A, you can say hi, you can have it, or it's dinner time. Okay, perfect. So how often, and now my next question is, what is it about why you eat when you're not hungry? How do you think the habit started? Why do you think we turn to food when we're not hungry? What is it? What are we trying to solve here? So there's two parts to that. One is we eat by the clock instead of eat by hunger. And so, of course, what are the repercussions of that? So I'm going to give you a minute to reflect on that and to put it in the Q&A. So was that modeled to you as a child? Was that just a common expectation? What do you think? So as a life coach, I really want to help you see what's going on. And so what we're going to do is, as we go through this, really asking those questions and seeing what's happening. So I want to respect our time together. And so we're going to share my screen with you. I created this awesome presentation. And one of the reasons I do this is so that you can, we're all different kinds of learners. And so we can learn from this. We can, and you can participate however you see fit. Okay, so why you eat when you aren't hungry and how to stop. So like we said in the Q&A, it's a habit or it's dinner time, and there's a lot of different reasons. And so as we go through this webinar, I want you to think about what are those. We're going to explore root causes of overeating. We're going to think about the psychological triggers involved and the practical strategies to address these issues so that we can actually solve them, right? We want to nip this in the bud. So how familiar is this picture? How often does this happen where you know you're in the right place. You know this training is for you if you ever stood in the kitchen after dinner, your stomach is full, but you eat anyway. I mean, this is so common, even with like a piece of fruit, we're like, I'm actually feeling really good, but that fruit just sounds so yummy. Okay. You know you're in the right place if you've gone through the drive-through while doing errands and then you throw those wrappers away. So you don't want people to know that you went to the drive-through. You don't want people to know that you made those choices. I used to work at a quilt shop. I was the long arm quilter, and the women would ask if they would try to pay for the fabric with cash, because they didn't want their spouse to look at the receipt or look at the online banking to see how much fabric they bought. So how often do we do that with food? Now, you don't have to put it in the Q&A. This is not about shame. This is just about being understood and feeling like you're understood. And that's my goal for you, okay? Oops. Okay, here we go. All right. So you know you're in the right place if I'm a little trigger happy here. I don't know what happened. Sorry, share my screen. Here we go. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I think there was, okay, I'm sorry. Share. Oh, let's see if that works. Okay. All right. You know you're in the right place if you find yourself uncomfortable after dinner and regret how much you ate. You know you're in the right place if you feel pressure to eat in social settings. What about and how many of you can, if you are like, thumbs up, I see this. What about this one? You're worried that you will overeat when you're out with friends or family, and you worry that your time is divided by all of the different stresses and negotiations about food. So what I mean by that is you go out for dinner, or you go to the guild meeting, or you go out, you do whatever, you're socially having all these different experiences, but are you really with the people, or are you in your own head? And I can't even tell you how many times that's happened in the past for me. So if this is relatable to you, I want you could do a thumbs up. You could say, that's me. You know you're in the right place if you're not sure why food has such a hold on you and your quality of life. Like, why are you constantly in your head about food? And then, you wish you could just be normal around food and not be in your head all the time. If that's you, I get it. And I'm so glad you're here, because this is what's going to change everything for you. So the more that you're aware of what's happening, the more you understand that this is just part of your life, and just own it, because awareness is key. Now, I want to really call out that if you're struggling with your weight and you're struggling with food, it's so much of our culture that oh my goodness, it's part of culture that we grew up in, and it's not about us lacking discipline. It's not about us having willpower, but we do have all of these issues that we don't know how to resolve. And so I wanted to share. Sorry, this tech thing is fun. Okay, so how many of us grew up with Oprah Winfrey? We all did. There's no question. So this was interesting because I saw this clip recently from Oprah Winfrey on Instagram.
Dr. Anya Yasserov, and myself.
Can you hear? Can you hear it? I'm pretty sure you can. So she has this new book out, and this is the part I wanted to share.
Oprah Winfrey. The reason I did the book is because I want people to stop blaming themselves, because if you think, like I thought for 50 years, that losing weight is about willpower, you are wrong. I was wrong. For 50 years, I was wrong. And now I understand that it's about bio.
Okay. So she is sharing about how we have been, oh dear. Oh my goodness. Sharing about the dangers of weight loss and what's really been happening. Okay, so I want you just to know if Oprah Winfrey got sucked into all this, so have we. And it's not, because one of the struggles we have is that diet culture, it's not about you, it's always saying that you lack discipline, or you're emotional, or you're addicted to food, or you need more willpower. But if we look at diet culture, if we look at why we struggle with weight, it's we're looking at in a bigger picture. It makes you feel like you're the problem, and that's not the case, because the truth is the problem isn't you. It's trying to solve an emotional problem with a food solution, and until you get that, Monday after Monday, you keep feeling like a restart. You never really finish. So I just did a training a few days ago about, last week, about starting fresh and how dangerous that is, and how that mentality is just keeping us more and more stuck. So what I want to ask you is, what is your unique story? What is it about your life? What is it about your body? What is it about your everyday life that has you feeling less than? What do you think? And as I recommend, I really want you to be interactive in this training, because I can just talk and talk, but unless you actually apply what I'm saying, you're not going to change. And no coach, no anyone, no one can make it happen. My sons play basketball, and they have incredible coaching. But if they don't listen to their coach, and if they don't apply what the coach says, it's not going to make a world of difference. So we all have to do our own work. And that's what makes me unique and this approach unique, because I'm not telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So I want us to imagine this is your life is like a movie, okay? And we're a director, and we're saying, okay, let's take a look at why are you struggling with your weight? So why are you eating when you aren't hungry? So if we were to take our best guess, what would it be? What would you say is the reason why you eat when you're not even hungry? So this is helpful. Imagine we're sitting in a movie theater, or we're sitting on the couch, and we're watching your life on the screen. So why are you, so you're replaying it, okay? So all of you, I want you to go in your head and review, when was the last time you ate when you weren't hungry? So just think about it, okay? So do you have it on the screen? Do you have it on your own screen? So this is where we're going to get such good understanding, and we're going to really create the life that we really want, because as a life coach, this is what I help you do. So I'm going to give you some behind the scenes of what's really happening. So why you eat when you aren't hungry. So the brain knows you need food to survive, okay? Food is fuel. Just like with our phones, we need to charge them. We have to have electricity. It has to have a fuel source. Okay, so when your brain senses danger, it sends that message to get more energy. Now, what is the fastest fuel source? Who can tell me? That's right. So, refined carbohydrates, refined sugar. And in fact, soda pop is one of the fastest, because you don't even have to digest it. It just is there. It's super sugary, and it will just happen. And so when we feel, panic or worry, we will go to those foods. Now, what happens when you get a surge of energy this way? What starts happening? Well, first of all, our brain loves a fast hit, right? So we get this real surge of energy, and it's like, yeah, we get this short dopamine hit and it feels awesome. But is that what we really want? So what's actually happening when you eat when you're not hungry, your brain throws you a thought. That thought creates a feeling, and that feeling is uncomfortable. So your brain says, let's avoid that feeling. Let's resist that feeling. Let's hide from that feeling. Let's distract from that feeling, and let's run away from that feeling. Okay? So because of that, and our brains are super efficient. Our brain was always looking for patterns. Okay? So we have this new pattern, and the more that we do it, the more automated it becomes. We don't even think about it, right? That's why emotional eating is such a problem for us, because we only get one crack at childhood. So when we were kids, we were sponges, right? We were always wanting to make sure that we were going to belong, that we would not get rejected from our family and get kicked out. And so we learned all these behaviors from our family, from teachers, from our community. So we learned if you eat, you'll feel better. And so then the brain says, oh, and if we eat peanut butter and white bread and chocolate chips or whatever that is, or pop or those kinds of foods, we will get a real quick hit. And guess what? It works. We get that hit and it feels great for the moment. But then what starts happening 10 minutes later? Exactly. So now we start feeling guilty. And not only do we start feeling guilty, but we don't trust ourselves. We start doubting ourselves. We think, oh, I should have gone for that, the delayed gratification. I should have spent more time. I should have worked through my problem. It's kind of like, for those, any of you are quilters, we want to finish a project, but it feels like there's a hard part to that project and we have to maybe unpick some things, or we don't, it's taking longer than we want. And so what do? We go for shopping online, or we get in the car even and go to the fabric store, and it feels awesome. We're like, yes, I love this. I love it so much. I'm going to have the willpower. I'm going to have the fortitude. I'm going to work through this. It's going to make the difference. But then that same fabric, or that new fabric that was going to be all wonderful and shiny and make all the difference, it's now collecting dust. Okay? It's the same concept. Now, so this isn't a food problem. It's a thinking problem. And thinking, well, guess what? We can change. So there are 3 different kinds of hunger. All right? Who want to take a guess at what those are? So let's look at those. So there is physical hunger. So this is actually when your body needs fuel. And this is so when your stomach is empty, your blood has used up a lot of that insulin, that energy. And so your leptin is telling you that your ghrelin is regulated. It's that hormone that says we're actually hungry. And then the leptin is the hormone that says when we've had enough. So this is what we want. This is our goal so when you were a kid and you'd want to have a snack before dinner and your mom said, or your grandma said, you're going to wreck your appetite. This is what we want. So now we have mouth hunger. So you want the taste, you want the texture. You're not really hungry, but you're like, oh, I just want something. Okay. So in the comments, I want you to tell me how often. So you have the hunger, physical hunger. So how often do you let yourself actually be hungry? And then this mouth hunger. So how often are you're like, I just want that feeling. but you're not actually hungry, but you're craving it, you want it, you're feeling. Okay. And then here's the one that I'm curious about. It's called emotional hunger. So it's saying, I want to feel happy. I want to not feel sad. I want to avoid this frustration. I want to, whatever that is, fill in the blanks. All right. So, how often are you turning to food, the chocolate, the whatever that is, because you want a certain emotion? That's what you're looking for. All right. So, you can just in your own mind ask yourself, how often throughout the day am I in this kind of hunger, actual hunger, or this kind of hunger, or this kind of hunger? Okay. And this is your own personal inventory. This is your ability to look at. Now, this is the truth. Everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way. So it's like, why do we want to eat that thing? Why do we want to buy that fabric? Why do we want to clean out the closet? Why do we want to not have debt? What are all those reasons? Because we want to feel accomplished. We want to feel satisfaction. We want to feel relief. We want to feel calm. We want to feel in control. Okay. So just like this picture, everything we do is because we want that pot at the end of the rainbow, right? We want that gold. And so most overeating is emotional hunger. And most people have never been taught how to handle it. That's why diets fail all the time. So if you were to do an inventory of your day, how much time are you spending with physical hunger, with mouth hunger, or emotional hunger? Okay. So let's look at the triggers. So these are the three most common triggers that I see. The first one is stress and overwhelm. So it's been a long day, you're exhausted, your to-do list gets longer than your patience, and all you can think of is food. Your nervous system is on high alert. Your brain says, eat, it'll stop the stress. I need a break. And yes, it works for a bit, but then stress is still there. And then guilt joins the party. So the truth is, food can't solve stress. It just delays it. And in fact, it builds it. Okay. So the second trigger is boredom and restlessness. So you're not stressed, you're not sad, you're just bored. You're not sure what to do. Your brain craves that dopamine. Food is there. It's that quick fix. So you're like, I need something. This also, with boredom and restlessness, it's also in transitions. It's also getting closure, okay? The third one is celebration, grief, or transition. Transition of life, transition of day. This is where transition is. So life's big moments, celebrations, grief, moving, breakup, brain's trying to cope. Food has become the default. So if you have this thought, I can't handle this feeling, or this moment deserves extra, food can't make the moment more meaningful or pain go away. It only distracts. Okay? So of these three triggers, how often during the day do you feel stress and overwhelm? How often during the day do you feel that restlessness or that boredom or that discomfort? Okay. And how often during the day do you feel like you struggle with like a celebration? I have to eat what everyone else is eating. Or grief. It's like, I don't know how to feel all of these feelings, or this transition, even these big transitions of life, like of children moving out of the home, or retirement, or a new government, like all of those kinds of big changes, like didn't used to be like this, and it just feels so much. So what needs to happen is this simple framework, but not always. So what I'm going to teach you is this new simple framework. It's not easy, it's simple, and that's okay. So it's a 4-part way. So first we need to notice. Now, then we name then we decide, and then we respond. So a lot of us, especially with this notice part, is if we are living on autopilot, we have the blinders on. And the truth is, we don't even want to acknowledge. We don't even want to deal with it. We're like, this is too much. So then we just go into autopilot. It's like, oh, this is when I feel overwhelmed. This is when I go to the pantry. This is when I get the chocolate chips. Oh, I'm feeling stressed. Oh, I know. This is when I go and scroll for a while. Oh, I'm feeling upset with what my husband just said. Oh, so I'm going to go bake some cookies. Okay? So the more that we can slow this down, right? This notice, you're like, oh, I notice what's happening. I notice I have an urge to eat. And now I'm going to acknowledge this feeling without judgment. I'm going to allow myself to recognize it as part of the process of managing overeating. And the more that you can just notice it, then you're able to now go to naming it. So you're like, oh, the reason this is happening is because I wanted to do all these things on my list today, and then I found myself scrolling, and then I feel regret, and I don't want to feel regret, so now I'm going to go do some more scrolling or eating. Oh, that's all that's happening. It's not that I'm bad. I just fell into that old trap. Okay. All right. So now we notice what's happening. This urge to eat or the urge to scroll or whatever that is, and then we name it. And then we get to decide when. So for example, when you recognize that urge to eat or scroll or whatever that is, you ask yourself, if eating serves the true need, if this is really going to resolve it, then eating intentionally means choosing foods that satisfy my body, right? And that's great. But if it's not going to do that, this is when we respond. So we're going to wait, and we're going to say, you know what? I'm actually not hungry right now. And I know we had this old program. We only got one crack at childhood. We always saw our moms, doing that, or saw, our grandma, whatever that was, or we would go to the grandpa's house, and that's when I would get the treat. So that's when I remember feeling the safest. So that's one of the reasons why I turned to food, but we don't have to do that anymore. When you know better, you do better, right? So do you see how, and you say, well, you know what? We had diet culture. I wasn't taught my emotions. So it makes sense, but that doesn't mean I'm going to have to, like we have washing machines now. In the olden days, they would wash clothes by hand. We don't have to do that anymore. Do you see how I'm just like modeling like new ways of talking? So as we do this, what's starting to happen is we are going into our body. We are going into embracing that we are a human being that has a brain that's attached to our body. And our brain is always communicating to our body, always. So our emotions actually always come from our thoughts. They don't come from chocolate. They don't come from buying new fabric, right? They always come from our thoughts about that situation, okay? So the brain doesn't work in isolation, so neither should our eating, okay? So for example, so here we have our lower brain that's our safety brain. Some people call it the reptilian brain. It's the one that has helped us to survive throughout all of the pandemics, all the different challenges, everything, okay? So it is always scanning for danger 5 times more than our CEO brain. So if there was a bear outside your yard, at your house, or a rainbow, thank you, brain. Let's not get distracted by the beauty of the rainbow. Let's be focused on the potential danger of the bear. Do you see how? And so our nervous system is connected. So our nervous system, we have what's called the sympathetic nervous system, which is all trained to respond. So if we are afraid, right, because there's danger, our heart will start beating more. We might start sweating. Our attention will be alert. If the faintest sound, we'll be aware of it because we are in danger mode. We need to protect ourselves. The adrenaline starts coming. So so when we start feeling danger, so let's say your kids say we're not coming for Sunday dinner, and your nervous system is like, oh, did I say something? Did I do something? Are they never going to come again? Are they mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Right? So now we're on high alert because that feels really dangerous. And then we can say, oh, so instead of going to the kitchen and getting some cookies, you could say, okay, thank you, body, for telling me that this could potentially be really dangerous. But when you go into your CEO, your higher brain, which is your parasympathetic nervous system, you can say, oh, that's interesting. You know what? They don't always have to come. And it's not even about me. And if it is, I'll figure it out. We always figure things out. We always we always iron out all the wrinkles. You know what? Having a family, there's always ebbs and flows. And the more that we can communicate, the more we can let people be who they are, the better. We'll just strengthen our relationship. See how when you go into that CEO brain. So the problem is when we feel that anxiousness, when we feel that reaction, that fearful reaction, we will want to go to, like we said, those quick fixes like the pop or the candy or the croissants. And so, by the way, my husband's cooking some croissants right now. My house smells so good. But so these are three ways that you can help regulate your nervous system so you're no longer turning to food. So the first one is just taking a deep breath. There's lots of research about the box breathing and how the Army SEALs, this is what they do in high pressure situations. So it's like they take a deep breath for the count of 4, and then they hold that for 4, and then they release it for 4. And then they take a deep breath for 4. And so now they're calming their body. They're actually communicating their brain and their body together, and they're training their body when it's okay, we can calm down, it'll be all right. The next one is one of my personal favorites, is putting your hand on your heart and on your chest, which obviously your heart. And I had 5 babies, and the more that you can hold them and secure them, the more safe they feel. So I imagine this, and sometimes I have to do a double hand. I just have to press extra hard on my chest, on my heart. Just say, it's okay. I get it. It's hard. Life isn't as easy as you always want it to be. But this is called growth, and I'm proud of you for growing. Okay. Another one you can do is shaking out that tension. So when I was a school teacher with kids, we would do that. And it was just a great way, especially if you're feeling that nervous energy, right? Standing up. Even today, like I spend a lot of time at my standing desk, and just standing is grounding. It's helpful, and it makes me more aware of my body. And so these are all ways that we can be more connected to our mental and physical state. And so now we're not feeling like life is happening to us. We are more of the conductor of our life. Okay, so now that we talked about shifting our mindset, and we had the 3 different hungers, physical, mouth, and emotional, I'm curious if the more that you can embrace this brain-body connection, how different are you going to approach hunger? Because I like this idea of, what are you actually hungry for? So let's look at some real life examples. So you're standing in the kitchen after dinner, and those cookies are calling your name. So I want you to notice, what is it? And then you name it. You're like, oh, the cookies are calling my name because I'm exhausted. And I want comfort. Because I know that when I eat that cookie, it's biology. I will get a kick. I will get that a little temporary boost. But then you get to decide, well, you know what? That cookie won't fix my exhaustion. And then I have to have the hangover of the cookie, and then I probably want to eat more cookies because I'm going to be chasing that emotion. So then you can respond. You can go sit. Maybe you pour some nice hot water and sit with that on the couch, and you let your body feel comfortable in that soft couch. Maybe you put a nice blanket around you and just breathe some breathing and say, what you really want is comfort. This is actually real comfort. So then now you're choosing, you're not reacting, and then you start building that trust with yourself. So instead of this whole white knuckling, we take that moment, we take those deep breaths, we put our hand on our chest, and then we are able to make those decisions from that higher CEO brain. So the more that you understand this process, the better. Now, one of the things that a lot of women will come to me and they'll say, I have failed so many times with weight loss. I have tried so many times not to eat when I'm not hungry. So I do love this quote by Earl Nightingale. And he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So it is a worthy ideal for you to learn how to undo all that emotional eating that you subconsciously wired in your head as a kid. And neuroscience shows that if you don't intentionally go back into the wiring, I have this great picture there. It will show if you don't go and rewire your brain, you're still responding and reacting like you did when you were 5 or when you were 10 or when you were 15. So I love this encouragement. So just like if you haven't lost the weight yet, or you're still, there's like maybe you've lost weight and then you put the weight back on, the fact is you're not a failure. If you still are progressing towards a worthy ideal, that's amazing. I have some goals that I made a long time ago, and I feel like I'm so far away from those goals, but I keep saying to myself, I'm a success because I'm progressively working on realizing this worthy ideal. And that's what I've lost over 55 pounds, and I've kept that off since 2019. And there's sometimes where I gain 10 pounds. And then I say, oh, Dara, what's going on? And then I work through all, oh, you're just overeating. Oh, you're whatever that is. And I can figure out that I'm not taking care of myself emotionally. So I'm using some food to not have to feel my feelings so much. And so the more I am able to do that and look at, okay, you were just getting that dopamine hit. We got to work on delayed gratification. And the more that I work on that, the more success I have.